taking a break from listing, and I was thinking about this whole offsite ads beta thing that eBay is asking us to help them with. And I was thinking, what's really the difference between that and promoted listing advanced? So I want to talk to you about that here on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. And in the day and time where eBay is trying to find creative ways to make money off of us, the seller, we have to be, I think, be careful in what we're doing and in how we handle and how we take on some of these, I don't want to call them gimmicks because I guess they work for some people, but for the everyday seller, I think your promoted listings advanced and your promoted, well, I can't say promoted, but your off-site ads, in this case it's beta, so it's not even something where eBay has ironed out all the kinks. I think it's something that I think, while tempting, many of us should avoid using these things. Now, I'll tell you this, the difference between promoted listings advanced, which is something eBay came out with, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and promoted, well, again, I say it again, I keep saying promoted because everything feels promoted, but it's your offsite ads beta. The difference between the two is a little different. It's keywords versus a cost per click. Basically, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when eBay came out with promoted listings advanced, they offer the same kind of thing. Here, take $100. And of course, me looking at the F word, free, thinking, okay, great, I'll take $100 and I'll apply this promoted listings advanced, free, right? What's it going to hurt? Towards my business to see if it'll help me make more sales. So I utilized that promoted listings advanced, and it didn't really change my sales that much, guys. I did apply it with keywords, so I was more focused on my higher end items, anything that was pretty much over $100. I didn't have any multi-quantity listings, which is another tactic that I would say that would be a useful way to use the keyword. Basically you're buying keywords with promoted listings advanced. So you're going in and you're creating a campaign and you're thinking of keywords that a buyer would use to find your item. And then you're basically bidding, or you're putting a value on that, and you're telling eBay, okay, I only want to spend so much a day on this campaign. And I used their $100 free, and I sold the 3 or 4 items that I had last year, and I didn't have a whole lot of big ticket items last year, so the 3 or 4 that I had up for sale, I did sell. It took a little while, but they were all sold within the 30-day campaign period that eBay gave me. But who's to say they wouldn't have sold anyway? Now, I didn't spend any money out of pocket on that. I used what eBay was giving me. I think it was 100 or 150. I think maybe 150 on that particular one. And I got to tell you, I wasn't impressed, and I never used it again. Now, fast forward to recently, and I don't know exactly how long eBay has been pushing this off-site ads beta, but at the beginning of the year, on my main account, of course, hook, line, and sinker, free $100 in off-site eBay ads, and I was determined not to spend a single dime out of pocket. So instead of applying it on my secondary account, which you guys know is where I kind of test things, my sales were kind of slow anyway, coming off of a really slow Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. And I said, you know what? What is it going to hurt? Well, it didn't help. And I let that go for about 5 days. And I noticed that I rarely had any clicks in the whole program. And I didn't get a single sale from it, according to the reports. I had a couple organic sales, but it had nothing to do with the off-site ads program. And for me, I ended up taking it off. I quit that campaign. I turned it off, and I said to myself, if I'm going to perform a test, let's just go on the other account and sign up for the free $100 on my secondary store. It's more of my clearance store. Haven't really received a lot of sales on that account all year long anyway, so let's put it on there and see what happens. So that's what I did a couple days ago. Now, I would suggest, if you're going to try something like this out, don't spend any money out of pocket. Really, utilize the money that they're offering you. They make you spend $5 a day on the offsite ads beta. So just go for 20 days. $5 a day, 20 days. You'll see a little button where it says advanced options, I believe, and it'll give you a chance to end the campaign. Just calculate it out, 20 days in the campaign, so you're not spending any money out of pocket. But from what I've seen, and it's still a small sample size, but I've read many posts like on Reddit and places where people were trying to maybe figure it out, and many sellers were experiencing the same thing. Not a real huge uptick in sales, and really no huge benefit from using this offsite ads program. Remember, eBay wants you to make sales, because when they make sales, they make money, of course, but I think they are trying to find ways, and in this way, to kind of trick you into spending more money than you have to. So if you're utilizing this for $5 a day over a 30-day period, well, you're spending an extra $50 out of pocket. That'll cover really your store costs if you're maybe dealing with a bigger eBay store. I would rather spend that money on supplies, more product to sell, and just use promoted listing standard and be just competitive to a point. I mean, not utilizing, I'm not a big fan of utilizing eBay's suggested promoted standard ad rates, because I think it's trying to drive the average seller to promote at a higher rate than they actually need to. So I guess each seller out there is going to have to determine what promoted listing standard rate you want to use and what you're comfortable with. But as far as these other things that eBay keeps putting out there, like eBay promoted listings advanced, where you're basically bidding on keywords you think a buyer is going to use for your item to find your item, and this whole off-site ads beta that is a cost per click. So you're basically paying every time a buyer clicks on your item. You have to pay to have that benefit, and regardless if it leads to a sale or not. And also on my other account, I have two lots of albums that I said, you know what, I'm going to put on auction. You guys know what I think about auctions. They're not what they used to be for most people, and I'm going to use the promoted listing express. They wanted $1.50 per. So I said, let me just see, because I've never really used it before. I thought that was gimmicky as well. If eBay promotes these lots in a way where I'm going to get bids, at least to get it sold and get the heck out of here, I'm trying it out on a very limited basis. But all these things, these extra things, personally, I don't think most sellers should bother using them unless you have multi-quantity listings. Let's say you have 100 of one thing and you want to get as much exposure off of that single listing, or something that has a value, I would say at least over $100, and you want to get that as much exposure as you can, because maybe you're into it for $5, you're going to sell it for 100. You have room in the low cost of that item to where you can do things like use coupons, markdown sales, higher promoted listing standard rates, and if you want to play with the cost per click and the promoted listings advantage where you're paying for keywords, I mean, it's certainly up to you. I just think that it's not necessary. If you have good items to sell, you don't have to use these, in my opinion, gimmicky tools. Promoted listings advanced, cost per click, offsite beta, offsite ads beta. These things, I think promoted listing is a necessary evil, because it's kind of baked into the algorithm now, whereas these other ones really aren't. And I've not experienced any real benefits in my own small sample size, but also reading what others have experienced. It's not all hyped up, in my opinion. It's all hyped up and not what I believe eBay is making it out to be. And if you just keep things simple, play the game that eBay is requiring you to play, I think you're going to do well. And I think it's even more tempting to try these things when sales are slow, not due to what you're doing, but a couple factors. Could be what you're selling. I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but that still remains the key. And a slowing economy where people are being very careful with what they're spending. And sites like eBay, your online Amazon, Walmart, and other online marketplaces are already projecting slower Q4 sales anyway. And that's what we're seeing right now. So don't allow desperation to make you sign up for these things. I signed up for these things more of a test so I can report back to you guys, but I'm not going to allow these tests to hurt my account and my sales, which is why I cut them off of my main account. And I do these things so that maybe I can report back to you guys and save you from wasting your time, no matter how tempting the free money is. You call it free money, but if you're not getting any more sales, and what I've seen, possibly even losing sales because it's still in beta and I'm not quite sure it's working correctly, well, is it really worth it? So that's the video I have for you today. Figuring all this out, whether you should use free money that eBay is giving you. Try these little beta things, even though we're all beta testing on eBay anyway, is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And Google thinks you're going to like one of these videos, so check them out. And until next time, have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone.